You are listening to This Week in Taiwan. I'm Eloise Phillips. Every Saturday, we break down the biggest stories making headlines across the country, from politics and economics to culture and the unexpected. Whether you're tuning in from Taipei or halfway around the world, we've got you covered with what you need to know to stay in the loop. Digital Minister Lin Yijing told visiting Ukrainian journalists Taras Andrukovich and Anna Lvova that Taiwan's enemies may use misinformation to undermine Taiwan's resolve to resist authoritarianism. This, he said, is an issue the ministry is taking very seriously, responding with two main strategies to remove bad actors in news and encourage those focused on reporting accuracy through a blacklist-whitelist strategy. In an interview on Friday, Lin said that the decoupling of the US and Chinese economies over the past decade has divided global supply chains into either red or democratic camps. Taiwan's TSMC, Lin said, is at the center of the democratic supply chains, manufacturing over 90% of advanced semiconductors. This has meant that protecting TSMC from hackers, who often target TSMC suppliers, has become a growing responsibility, leading to the joint promotion of the new SEMI E187 specification for cybersecurity of fab equipment standard and requiring all suppliers to comply. Taiwan has worked with many international partners to apply similar solutions and strengthen global cybersecurity across various sectors. In another example, Lin noted that Taiwan is currently working with Poland and Ukraine to develop drones with security measures to prevent them from being hijacked by enemies on the battlefield. Taiwan's experience as a hacking target of North Korea, China, and Russia has made the country a hub of cybersecurity expertise, with a wealth of experience and data to draw on for innovative solutions. Taiwanese experts are constantly adding to that experience, deliberately setting traps for hackers to attack, so that white hat hackers can identify vulnerabilities, work out patches, and disseminate that information to the larger democratic community. However, the ministry's resources are also focused internally, where disinformation remains a major concern. To combat this, the Digital Ministry has employed the dual strategies of blacklisting and whitelisting. Lin explains that blacklisting involves quickly removing fake and misleading news from unfriendly countries and requiring social platforms to comply. This strategy is like a tightrope, as Lin stressed that Taiwan is a democracy with protections for freedom of expression, meaning that finding a balance can be difficult. The whitelist strategy supports professional media outlets like Radio Taiwan International in disseminating accurate information to the public.
That means we will try to encourage more media like RTI, like your station, this kind of traditional media with the professional journalists to provide the real news, the correct information. Sometimes you will get something wrong from time to time, but on average, the traditional media is much, much better than the rumor on the social media.
Despite efforts like the whitelist strategy, Lin admitted that traditional media outlets face numerous challenges in the digital age, especially around losing revenue to social media sites. Still, the minister said that the Digital Ministry will continue cooperation with the Culture Ministry to provide support and seek solutions, stressing that, quote, without a free press, there can be no democracy, end quote. Taiwan's Deputy Foreign Minister, Francois Wu Zizong, said bilateral relationships have become more important than multilateral frameworks as international institutions face growing challenges, citing Taiwan's role in artificial intelligence as a key driver of international cooperation. Wu made the remarks in an interview with visiting Ukrainian journalists on Thursday amid shifting global dynamics. He said that organizations such as the United Nations are increasingly constrained, prompting Taiwan to focus more on bilateral diplomacy. Entering what he described as the AI era, Wu said Taiwan, which he called, quote, the capital of AI, end quote, continues to attract international attention and cooperation requests, adding that Taiwan is willing to share its AI expertise and play a more proactive role in the international community. He stated,
when we work with other countries, it's more and more based on how Taiwan can play a positive role in the world and how Taiwan can even assist some country for their re-industrialized policy.
Explaining Taiwan's diplomatic challenges, Wu said Taiwan faces sustained pressure from China, the world's second-largest economy. He said Taiwan's diplomatic efforts focus on countering Beijing's One China principle narrative and emphasizing that Taiwan is not a domestic issue for China and not part of China. Although few countries formally recognize Taiwan, Wu noted that Taiwan maintains 111 overseas missions worldwide. The minister noted that the declining effectiveness of international organizations such as the United Nations, World Health Organization, and World Trade Organization has made bilateral ties increasingly critical. Through bilateral discussions on key issues, Taiwan's relationships with multiple countries have steadily improved. On relations with Poland, Wu emphasized that Taiwan values Central and Eastern European countries as much as major Western European states. He said Taiwan-Poland relations are warming and continue to deepen. On Ukraine, Wu ensured that Taiwan will continue to support Ukraine based on shared values and interests, but deeper bilateral ties depend on the Ukrainian government's position. Addressing claims that Russian missiles contain Taiwanese components, Wu said Taiwan has enforced strict high-tech export controls since Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Wu also stressed the importance of linking Indo-Pacific peace and stability to the interests of the United States, Japan, and Western countries, saying international support for Taiwan has grown amid China's military exercises. Chinese ambassador to Australia, Xiao Qian, said at his annual press conference last Wednesday that there's, quote, no room for compromise, end quote, on Beijing's position regarding its vows to reunify China and Taiwan. He stated that there are a handful of people in Taiwan who don't recognize they're Chinese and don't support China's unification. He said they can leave Taiwan because Taiwan is China's territory. If they refuse to be a citizen of China, they can leave the island. Taiwan's foreign ministry strongly condemned the statements this Monday, reiterating that the two sides of the Taiwan Strait are not subordinate to each other and calling on the international community to jointly prevent unilateral changes to the status quo. The ministry called Xiao's public remarks unfounded, pointing to his erroneous use of UN General Assembly Resolution 2758 to deny Taiwan's sovereign status. The foreign ministry reiterated Taiwan is a sovereign and independent country and that China has never ruled Taiwan, quote, not for a single day, end quote. They stated that any remarks distorting Taiwan's status or denying the democratic choice of the Taiwanese people cannot change the internationally recognized status quo across the Taiwan Strait. President Lai Ching-te delivered remarks via pre-recorded video at the 2026 World Cancer Day event this Wednesday, stating that the government is promoting a national cancer prevention and control plan with the goal of reducing the cancer mortality rate by 1/3 by 2030. This year, the Hope Foundation for Cancer Care and Kaohsiung City Government jointly organized an event to commemorate World Cancer Day that saw the foundation's vice chairman, Bruce Luo, and over 50 others cycle more than 400 kilometers in 3 days. The ride reflected the organization's commitment to fighting cancer and promoting a healthy lifestyle among cancer survivors. In his speech, the president highlighted the need to strengthen precision medicine. To this end, he said Taiwan is staying aligned with global medical standards by building internationally recognized databases through genetic testing, precise diagnosis, and cross-ministerial collaboration.
As of last October, we have included 20 new drugs and 16 expanded coverage items, benefiting 12,300 people with estimated expenditures of nearly 12.2 billion NT dollars. The government will continue to allocate budgets to ensure the sustainable operation of the Cancer Drug Fund.
Lai said that as Taiwan's first president with a medical background, he deeply understands the enormous pressure cancer places on public healthcare and family finances. He reminded all cancer patients and their families that they are not alone and that the government is working alongside medical professionals and patient organizations to ensure a healthy Taiwan. According to statistics from the Union for International Cancer Control, or UICC, cancer is the world's second leading cause of death, with approximately 10 million deaths annually. In Taiwan, cancer has ranked first among the top 10 causes of death for 43 consecutive years. US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping discussed trade, military issues, a potential April visit to China, Taiwan, and the Russia-Ukraine war during a phone call on Wednesday, Trump posted on his social media platform. Xinhua News reported Xi emphasizing Taiwan as the most important US-China issue, stating that, quote, Taiwan is Chinese territory, end quote, adding that Beijing must defend sovereignty and territorial integrity and that the US must handle arms sales to Taiwan cautiously. Taiwan President Lai Ching-te addressed the call on Thursday before a textiles industry meeting in Changhua, telling reporters that US-China-Taiwan relations remain unchanged in 4 ways. The Republic of China, or ROC, and People's Republic of China, PRC, are not subordinate, and Taiwan is not part of the PRC. US commitments under the Taiwan Relations Act and 6 assurances hold firm. US Indo-Pacific peace efforts continue, and Taiwan-US cooperation endures. Lai said,
The United States, based on its national security strategy and defense strategy, allies with friendly nations for collective defense, burden sharing, and maintaining peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. This direction remains unchanged. Fourth, Taiwan-U.S. relations are rock solid, and all cooperation programs will continue without change.
Lai linked Xi's arms sales remarks to opposition parties blocking a military purchase bill 10 times in the legislature, saying that for Xi, accepting the 1992 consensus means embracing one China, with no space for the ROC's, quote, one country, two systems, end quote, interpretation, effectively advancing unification. He urged passing the central budget and the special defense budget first, if cross-strait exchanges and cooperation are to proceed without endangering Taiwan. Taiwan's foreign ministry affirmed US commitments, arms sales normalization under Trump, and recent Economic Prosperity Partnership Dialogue, or EPPD, results, including joint statements on the Pax Silica Declaration and Taiwan-US economic security cooperation. A White House official explained via email that US policy towards Taiwan has not changed based on the Taiwan's Relation Act, the US PRC 3 communiques and 6 assurances, consistent with Trump's first term. The opening ceremony for the 2026 Milano Cortina Winter Olympics will take place on the 7th Taiwan time. This year already marks several historic moments for Taiwan, with a record 10 athletes qualifying for the Games, although only 9 will compete. The Games also represent new and comeback opportunities in the bobsleigh and figure skating competitions respectively. On Thursday, February 5th, Taiwan announced figure skater Li Yuxiang and bobsledder Lin Xingrong will be the flag bearers at the Games opening ceremony. 18-year-old Li has trained domestically since childhood and finished 5th overall in his qualifier. He is Taiwan's first competitor in the Winter Olympics men's figure skating in 28 years, since David Liu in 1998. Lin originally competed in the luge before transitioning to bobsleigh in March 2024. Having spent the following year's training, she is considered a strong competitor, securing multiple podium finishes in North America and Europe. Lin herself qualified for the Olympics after ranking 16th in the monobob. Together with brakeman Liang Yuchi and Lin Song-eun, she will lead Taiwan's first ever bobsleigh team in this year's Games. This year's Games are co-hosted by the cities of Milan and Cortina, with 2 additional competition sites in Predazzo and Bormio. The opening ceremony will take place mostly in Milan, although other sites will participate through live video. In keeping with convention, Taipei will enter 81st and will be listed under T, despite performing under the name Chinese Taipei. And that is it for This Week in Taiwan. My name is Eloise Phillips. If you want to know more about what's going on in Taiwan, visit our website at rti.org.tw/en. Until next time.